Good morning, I think I should say. I did start, it was the evening. I'm not out doing any Ubering, it's doing some private jobs. I've said for a while I'll try and do a bit of a video when I'm doing private jobs. So yeah, I started on, it was Wednesday the 7th. I set off at 11 p.m. I've had to head to Manchester Airport, so I've headed up there. I like to get there obviously a little bit earlier just in case there's any like road closures or anything like that. So I parked up at the PP charging stations up there. I jumped on, just get a little bit of a top up just whilst I was waiting for the client to come in to land. They landed at midnight. So see how long it took her. So it was only 15 minutes. Yeah, so it only took her 15 minutes to collect the bags. That was at Terminal 3, so I went and picked her up. Just dropped her off in Liverpool, kind of like Liveland way. So then I've just popped over to Formby, which is a little 10-minute drive down the road, and jumped on this rapid charger. So obviously I'm full again, because I was down to about half a tank, because it was all motorway miles coming back. I think it's like 52 miles or something. So yeah, basically I'm on charge now for, I don't know, maybe half an hour or so, but I've got a little bit of time to kill. My next private job is at 4 a.m, so just after 2 o'clock now, so in 2 hours. The job is 20 minutes away. Skelmersdale, so it's kind of like in between Southport and Ormskirk. So yeah, I'll just stay on this charger for an hour or so. Basically, you can stay on it for 90 minutes and it'll then charge you an additional £10, basically because you're hogging the charger. So I mean, this would be fully charged in about half an hour, but I think I'll just go and sit in the back or go and have a lie down or something for half an hour. So yeah, I've got a little bit of time to kill. Picking the next customer up in an hour and 55 minutes. A group of 5, and they are going to Manchester Airport. So I'll be dropping them off at Manchester Airport probably around 5 a.m, thereabouts. And then I should be home for half six. I should have enough charge at that point to get back home as well. And then at that point I'll then just charge during the day, because my next booking after that is at 4:30 in the afternoon. I'm picking up a lady travelling about 15 minutes or so towards Tarleton, picking up one of her friends, and then I'm taking the 2 of them to the Co-op Arena in Manchester. I think they're going to see Ollie Mers. Drop them off for about 5:30, 6 o'clock. They want to be there for about 6, so when the gates open at 6. And then they want me to bring them back at 11. So where are we? 6? Yeah, so basically I've got a 5-hour window in between dropping them off and picking them up. So I've got a couple of options. Option 1 is I can drive home. It's about an hour to get home from there. I can stay at home for like 3 hours if I wanted to, and then drive an hour back. Option 2 is I can find somewhere to park up and do nothing for 5 hours, which would be really boring. And then just pick them up. Or the third option is I can do some Uber. I don't want to do it in Manchester though, to be honest. So the closest kind of area to that where I've worked in the past is probably going to be like kind of Wigan way. So it would mean me driving probably almost halfway home, so I'd have to drive like half an hour to get out of Manchester to come a little bit more around kind of Wigan way, because I don't want to be going into like Bolton and everything. And then I could potentially bounce around and do some Ubering for 2 or 3 hours at least. and then I could jump on a rapid charger for like half an hour to take me back to a full tank, and then go and pick them up. Just trying to think of ways to like maximise profit really, but I just don't know, because obviously it's going to be, what day are we on now? So technically we're on Thursday now. It's 2:10 in the morning. So Thursday evening, I think it's just going to be quiet. But I don't know. That's where I'm up to anyway. So I might do a little bit of Ubering later on, because I'm out. I just think it'd be a little bit pointless to drive an hour home, to sit there for 3 hours, to then drive an hour back to Manchester to pick them up, to drive an hour from there to Southport to drop them off, to then come home. So it's like 2 hours wasted, isn't it? Whereas, but then, saying that, I'd have to drive half an hour out of Manchester to get towards like kind of Wigan way, work like 2 hours in Wigan, drive half an hour back into Manchester to top up again, to then go and pick the customer up. So it's kind of like, is it worth going through all that hassle for like between 2 and 3 hours of Ubering on a Thursday night? Like, what are you going to get? £15-20 an hour? I mean, I know it's pot luck, you could be on £50 an hour and get 2 like really good jobs, but realistically you're probably looking at £15 to £20 an hour from my experience. So I don't know if it's worth all the faff for 30 to 40 quid, to be honest. I don't know if it's just easier to come home. So yeah, all in, it wouldn't be, it's it's the busiest kind of day, but it's kind of good when the bookings come in, because I've been able to stagger them. Like I took this earlier one, which was she was returning, because obviously I'd taken her last week to Manchester Airport, so technically I could have just went and picked her up, and then that would have been me for the night. But then this other booking come in, which was for 4 o'clock, and then I thought, well, I'll accept it, because there's a lot of jobs that will come in that I won't accept, because either I just can't be bothered, or the time of day is wrong, or I'm doing something with the family. But then I thought, well, I'm going to be practically down in this area anyway. Granted, I have to jump on charge, and I've probably got 30-40 minutes kind of like time to kill, but like I said, I can just go in, I say get my head down, but there's no way I'll be able to fall asleep for half an hour. My body doesn't work like that. I'm going to have a lie down in the back or something for half an hour. So all in all, it's not too bad. So yeah, to give you like a little bit of an idea, it's the return leg of that journey for the lady that I picked up. I think it was about 75 or 80, can't remember, call it 80. And then going to pick up the group, there's 5 of them, taking them to Manchester Airport, so that's 115, so that takes me to 195. And then the 2 ladies who I'm taking to the Ollie Mears, to the Co-op Arena and back, is 170, so that takes me to 365. And then if I fancy doing between 2 and 3 hours of Uber, like I said, God knows, you could do nothing. You could do, it's just a gamble. So like if I said, quite a conservative guess, like 15, potentially it could be like another 45 quid. So I could finish the day on about 410. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's kind of potted in between. Like I said, I was obviously up all yesterday. I did try and get into bed for like 9 o'clock, knowing that I had like 2 hours before I had to get up to set off. Just couldn't get to sleep. It's just completely pointless. That's the way my body works. It's either I know when I'm tired, like I have to accept I'm tired and go to sleep, If I don't feel tired, there's no way I can get myself to sleep. It's just, honestly, it's impossible. So yeah, obviously the idea is after I bring them back from Manchester, after I drop them off at Manchester and come home, I'll go on the home charge up at home, and then I can have a couple of hours during the day before I go back out again. But yeah, that's about it. I did say last time it's kind of hard to do like a little bit of a video on private jobs, because it's it's basically just saying the little jobs that you've done to give people a bit of an idea of like kind of what you made, maybe like the hours. You know, for me to go to Manchester Airport and back for that lady was probably about 2 hours. To take this other group and get back again, almost 2 hours. That's probably 4. And then the other job later on in the day, it's probably half an hour to pick them up, an hour, so that's probably like 3 hours all in. So it's probably like a 7-hour shift. That's if I exclude the Uber. So if I take that 45 back off that total, that's 365 by the 7. It's about £52, 14 pence an hour, for them 3 private jobs. So yeah, it's not too bad. You know, it goes to show that it's 100% worth getting your operator's licence. I knew that before I even got my badge and my plate. I was basically pushing at the time of the application for my operator's licence, and they were like, well, you need to get your badge first. And then I get my badge and I was like, right, I want my operator's licence, and they were like, yeah, you've got to get your vehicle plated. So I was like, right, okay, got that plated and basically submitted the form at the same time for my operator's licence, and then just chased them for that, because I knew the likes of Uber was purely just a filler. And if you want to make some money in, you know, private hire or whatever, you've got to get an operator's license. Honestly, it's just it just can't be done solely on. If it's not just Uber, even if you're just doing like Delta or whatever you're doing, you've got to get out there and got to get your operator's license. I was even looking in before, which I didn't realise. Well, I kind of realised, but I've never really fully understood how to get into it. So you see a lot of people who have got like school run contracts, for example. I had done some school runs through a company, that A1 taxis or whatever they were called, A1 transfers in Liverpool. Absolute clowns to work for. I only done half a dozen jobs for them and knocked it on the head. They were useless. So basically you can approach the council direct. So like I was looking at Lancashire's today, and it goes along the lines of their budget is like £14 million a year or something on all the contracts that they have, because there's thousands and thousands of contracts, and it's not just school runs. It might be people with learning disabilities, taking people to and from hospital appointments, just anything to do with transport. Like I said, it might just be schools, it might be vehicles with wheelchair access, minibuses, one person with a carer. And having a read into it, I've downloaded the forms to fill in, and basically the way it works is they release contracts every now and then, but it's on a bidding system. And the way they describe it is, think of it as eBay but in reverse. So for example, a job, you can go on there and you can see all the contracts that have been handed out in the last quarter, who it's been handed out to, what it is they have to do in that contract, say from Skelmersdale to Liverpool, for example, and it tells you how much they get for that annual contract. So basically the contracts will come up and it'll say, you're taking someone to and from this school 5 days a week. I'm just making all this up, by the way, in case you haven't noticed. From Skelmersdale to Liverpool, we start the bidding at £10,000 a year. So I would type in, I'll do that for £10,000, and then Joe Blogs come in and you can bid down in increments of £1. So someone can say, well, I'll do that for £9,999, and then I've been outbid, so to speak. I then come on and say, right, I'll do that for 9,500, and then the next person goes, well, I'll do it for 9,000. So it's that classic example of a race to the bottom. But what helps a little bit is obviously you can only bid on these if you're an operator. So that kind of gets rid of some of the riffraff, because if it was just anybody with a badge, you'd have every Tom, Dick and Harry. And then basically, yeah, it's just like a little bit of a contract you can get. I've seen some contracts on there. It doesn't give you the full breakdown of what they're doing. It basically just says that, you know, they're going from here to here. So you don't know if these individuals are doing 1 trip a week, if they're doing 10 trips because they're going there and back, if they're multiple stops and things like that. It just gives you a brief description of what it is they're doing. There's contracts, annual contracts on there, because it comes up and it says like, this contract was £5,500 a year, this one was 7, this one was 10, this one was 20, this one was 30. I've seen some, I think the highest was like 47,000 or something. So yeah, it just obviously, it depends on, it says they put all the job offers kind of on like this platform, which you have to like register and sign up to the council. You can then log in and everybody can view all of the contracts for 2 days. Then the bidding goes live. So basically that 2 days gives you your opportunity to say, I don't mind doing this, I don't mind doing that. Obviously some of them will be, you know, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 miles away from you, so there's no point doing them. So you need to try and pin down to the ones that are, you know, viable for yourself, and then you're then basically bidding against other operators trying to secure whatever contracts it is. So yeah, it seems all right. I'll have a little go at that. I'll get signed up to that, and see if I can get myself like a little bit of a contract, so it's just you know, something's like guaranteed, because it shouldn't mess too much with my own private work, because I would say the majority of the private jobs I've done are either kind of late afternoon or like evening, should I say, or the first thing in the morning, like, you know, now, you know, it's like midnight, picking people up, taking people to the airport at 4 o'clock. So the majority of the contracts that's with the council are during the day, you know, taking people to and from hospitals, schools, things like that. So it shouldn't really impact my my availability too much. And then again, if I wanted to, those type of contracts wouldn't interfere too much with the likes of Uber if I do that on, like, you know, Friday, Saturday night, because you're not going to have any contracts off the council. So yeah, something else to have a little look into. I did sign up to the other one as well, because I seen Rideshare Buddy UK. He'd signed up to ATS, which is the airport transfer, and that's a similar sort of system to what the council do. So basically the jobs will just pop up on there to say, you know, such and such needs picking up from here, and they're going to Manchester Airport. And it then gives you a brief idea to say, you know, we've opened bids for this job. We're expecting to pay, say, £90 for this job. So you can say, okay, I'll do that for £90. But then someone else can go on and say, well, I'll do that for £85. And then you can say, oh, go on then, I'll do it for £80. So it's almost like a race to the bottom again. But it's kind of like who can feasibly do the job, who's got less running costs, or who's closer. You know, so for example, if the job was 1 mile away from me, I'll be able to say that I can do that job cheaper than someone who would have to run from Liverpool all the way to that job. So they wouldn't be able to bid as low as what I could. So yeah, there's a couple of different things. Obviously, I'll try and get into, but I think a good one would be securing some sort of contract, regardless of what it is, whether it was a school run or taking people here, there. Like I said, that some of them was you have to go and pick up a carer, then go and pick up like a child, and then take them, might be like 10-15 miles away to a particular school and whatnot, and then go and take the carer back home. and then obviously you have to then do that again in the afternoon to pick them up. So there's all like different types of contracts you can do. So yeah, I'll give that a whirl, I think. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. If I turn this on to give me a bit of an idea of where I'm up to, it's not far off being full. I'm probably on about 90% battery now, and yeah, I've got probably an hour to kill. That's why I'm just letting this get right up to 100%. So yeah, I'll go and have a little chill for half an hour, 40 minutes or so, and then I'll go and do this this Manchester pickup. Well, not Manchester pickup, Southport pickup, going to Manchester. So yeah, I'll give you a little bit of an update in a bit, see if anything exciting has happened. So just a little update. I picked the other passengers up at 4. We set off from there about 4:10. Got to Manchester Airport for about 5:10 thereabouts, and then I was just about to head off home. However, it said it was 39 miles to get home, and I had 41 miles of range. So I mean, I like rolling the dice, but that was a bit too much of a risk. It's because it's all motorway. Obviously, it just tends to drain a little bit more. If it would have been more down back roads and whatnot, I probably would have just rolled the dice, because obviously you're getting your regen braking. But yeah, on the motorway you're not getting any whatsoever. You know, you get on, you set your cruise control to 70, and it's basically just going to drain the battery all the way home. So it'd be a little bit too sketchy. So I've just pulled back in at the BP Pulse. It's at Costa. It's like a mile away from the airport. Luckily when I come in as well, because the signs say no return within 4 hours, and I was here like 4 hours 15 minutes ago. I double checked again this morning, because it says the maximum stay is 30 minutes whilst you're here. But obviously I went in and said, like, I'm charging my car up, and she said, oh no, it'll be fine if you're doing that. I did ask the guy who was in there the other day as well, so I don't know how it detects that, because it's just like AMPR when you basically drive into Costa and the forecourt, and obviously it reads your number plate on the way out. So I don't know how they establish that you've been on charge and you haven't just been parked up in here. No idea. So yeah, basically I'm only going to stay here another 2 minutes. I just needed a little bit more of a safety net for driving home. So I should be home for about 6:30. Put the car on charge, and then I'll get into bed. Yeah, that's about it really. So all in all, it was fine. Just picked up a group of 5. Yeah, it was fine. what was quite funny about it, normally obviously I just have the radio on, got everything all preset. Depending on the night, or if it's during the day, can have, you know, like hard 90s on, something like that. If it's over a weekend, you've got like hard dance on stuff and whatnot. So it's like a younger group, probably like, I'd say early to mid 20s, you know. So I had like, I think it was like hard noughties on. They might hear some music from there, and after about 5 minutes, one of the lads in the back says, oh driver, is there you know, have you got Bluetooth? I said, oh no. I said, I need to connect it via the cable. I said, I can put something on, you know, Apple Music or a different station or something. He was like, oh yeah, put Smooth FM on for us if you can. So I mean, I have Smooth FM on, but I didn't realise 20-year-olds listen to Smooth FM. And that's about it. So I'll do another little update later on when I'm coming back out, and I'll keep yeah. Good afternoon. It's just coming up to, well, almost 4 o'clock. So yeah, I got back this morning. I was going to put the bus on charge, and then I thought, well, there's no point putting it on charge at home, where normally I would, but obviously you need to pay. So I just thought, before I come out to do this job now, basically I can come to a BP charger, because obviously I've got all the credit on there to use and it's free. So yeah, set off a little bit earlier and I've come over here to top up. It's just coming up to 98% now, and I'm just about to leave here. So yeah, I'm going to drive down now to Southport, which is, what's that, about 20 minutes or so? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's 28 minutes. So I'm going to drive over there, collect, and then it's about another 20 minutes for the second collection, and then to the Co-op Arena. I think it's saying it's all in. It's supposed to be taking about not far off 2 hours. Obviously that's going off the traffic data, and obviously with it coming up to 4, it's a little bit busier now, bit of rush hour, and you've got the school runs and things like that. So once we get moving, it may change a little bit, and yeah, that's about it. Her friend, sorry, she messaged before, the lady that I'm picking up, and said, am I available to do the same again on Saturday, but for her sister-in-law. So I think they're just in the process of booking as well for the exact same job. So yeah, that's about it really. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do when I get up there, if I'm going to go out and do Uber for a little bit. I think once I've dropped them off, I'll have a little bit of a top up anyway, and then I'll turn the Uber app on and kind of gauge it from there, because I'll start naturally heading over towards kind of the Wigan area anyway, kind of out of Manchester. You know, if it's busy and I'm getting decent jobs, then yeah, great, I'll do that for a bit. But if the jobs are just crap, because obviously it's a Thursday, you know, afternoon / evening, I'll just log off and come home. I'll spend about 3 hours at home, and then I'll just drive back up later on to come and collect them. So yeah, I haven't decided yet. Like I said, it all depends what's happening, if it's busy or not. So yeah, I best get going anyway, because I don't want to be late, and I'll update you when I'm on charge in a couple of hours and let you know what we... So it's just after 7 o'clock and I've just gone on charge. That was an absolute nightmare. Honestly, I take my hat off to anyone who drives in Manchester, whether it be private hire, taxis, whatever it is. It is ridiculous. I couldn't work up here. There's no way I'm going to do Uber now. That's basically confirmed it for me. So yeah, I picked them up at 4:30. Well, one of them, and then we nip round the corner, picked a friend up, and then it said it was going to take, I think it was like an hour and a half. It ended up taking like a bit longer. I basically ended up dropping them off at 6:30, so it took 2 hours to get to Manchester, which should be like an hour drive max. I know it kind of caught a little bit of the tail end of like school traffic, and then you had like a bit of the rush on for obviously because work had finished because of what time it was, but it wasn't too bad. The motorway was kind of flowing, and then when we got into Manchester, the last 4 miles took just over half an hour. We even had to stop at a McDonald's because it was taking so long, so one of the customers could go and have a wee. I mean, I don't think it helps you were sat in the back with a bottle of champagne, like. So yeah, she even said, oh, have you got any plans, what it was you're going to do now? Because obviously I'm picking them up at 11 o'clock. And I said, well, you know, I was kind of debating potentially doing like a bit of Ubering. I said, but I wasn't too keen on it. I said, another option is I can drive home, but it's going to take like an hour to get home. Again, a little bit pointless. I said, so I'm probably just going to go in, charge up, have something to eat, and I can carry on. I've got loads of work to do. I've probably got like a good between hour and 2 hours, to be honest, of different emails I need to send and quotes. So yeah, I'll probably do that. I'll probably just hang around here, to be honest. I've just got on charge now. I've only used half a tank, so theoretically I could probably just about get back home later on to drop them off. But yeah, in that kind of traffic, I wouldn't want to risk it. I wouldn't want to go up there and then it's kick-out time. There's like thousands of people everywhere. So yeah, it was chaotic. It was just a nightmare. So her friends who had messaged before to see if I can do the exact same trip, almost identical time, but on Saturday, I've just replied to them saying, oh, you know, apologies for the delay, I was dropping your friends off, and I've actually bumped the price up a little bit, purely because I didn't realise it was going to be so bad. I know obviously traffic in Manchester is horrendous, but getting in and out of the stadium, it's ridiculous. There's no way you can even drop off nearby, and then they have like this big massive queue tailbacking for probably a mile to turn right into the stadium. I've basically gone down the left hand lane all the way to the front and then put my indicator on at the front, and luckily a Tesla driver let me in so I didn't have to wait. So I don't know if it was just like one EV to another EV driver that said go on and I'll let you in. But yeah, if we could have easily have sat in that lane for another half an hour. So yeah, and then you pull in and then there's nowhere to stop just to let people out. They have like all the marshals, and they had a similar thing to what was set up at the National. They have all barriers along to stop people from basically letting passengers out, because then you have to scale this fence. So I stopped and I said to the marshal, he was like, oh, your permit or you know, premier parking and all this. I said no, so I'm just dropping 2 passengers off. I said where can I stop, because they have all the cones out as well saying, yeah, you know, no stopping, there's police there and everything. He's like, oh yeah, just keep driving straight. I was like, right, okay. I thought that sounded a bit shifty, so I drove straight for like another 50 metres, and there's nothing. It's just all coned off, and then all the cones direct you into this big massive outdoor car park. So I stopped on the corner there and just basically let them out, and then just drove down a little bit, and they directed everyone to the car parks, and I was like, I just want to leave, mate. And he's like, oh yeah, because he'd just seen me drop off. He said, oh yeah, exit's just straight ahead. I don't know why they don't have drop-off zone. Why don't they have that anywhere? They don't have one here, they didn't have one at Aintree. Seems to be like you either have to just drive past or you have to go and park up. They don't seem to cater for, you know, there's thousands of, you know, Ubers and taxis and whatnot dropping customers off. Where are you supposed to do this? They force you to basically stop on double yellow lines and stop on next to cones that say, you know, no stopping, to let the passengers out. Otherwise you're driving to the stadium, but then you have to drive past the stadium for like half a mile until there's no cones, so you can then drop off. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm gonna go in. There was another BP which was closer. It was probably like a mile from the stadium. It was just at some like little random pub. It was a 50 kilowatt one, which was enough because I'm not in a rush to charge up. But then I've drove probably 10 minutes to this one. It's like a 300 kilowatt one. There's a couple of them, but it's got like a big proper petrol station, like an M&S and everything, so I can actually get some food rather than going into some little grubby pub in the middle of Manchester somewhere. So yeah, that's about it. I'll give you a little update later, let you know how I got on, when I got home, what time I got home. So yeah. So it's just after 1 o'clock and I've just got home. So yeah, been a bit of a long day, but yeah, got there eventually. I've done 323 miles across all of them jobs. So yeah, it's been a busy day, but then, you know, I have had respites in between. Obviously, had like a decent sized one throughout the day, and then it was a bit of a pain obviously having to wait round in that last job then. But like I said, I was kind of limited. If it would have been like in Liverpool arena, something like that, I would have done Uber in between, because I know the area a little bit better, and the congestion is nowhere near as bad in Liverpool as it is in Manchester. I just wasn't prepared to do it. But then, to be fair, like I said, I've got a fair bit done in that, because when I spoke last, obviously I was on charge. I then drove over to there's an Asda car park, which is near the arena, but it said on there when I went in, the parking is 3 hours, but on a match day or an event day, it's an hour and a half. So basically I stayed in there for an hour and a half, or just shy of an hour and a half, while I was doing some work. I then left there and then drove over to McDonald's, which was even closer. It's probably the closest parking you can get to the stadium without actually being in like a pay and display car park. Absolutely rammed. I managed to get like one last space, and then they even closed the drive-through because it was just so busy. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. The customers were due to finish at 11. I think they messaged me. What time was it? It wasn't too bad yet. They messaged just after 11 saying that they were coming over, and then they phoned me 20 minutes later to say they just got there, and because it was McDonald's, it'd be rude not to go in and get some food. So you know, to be fair, like they did offer if I wanted some and whatnot, so they went in, they got themselves some food, and then I got out of the car park just in time because you're only allowed 90 minutes at McDonald's as well before you get a ticket on there. So yeah, they were a laugh, to be honest. We set off from there, and they came walking out, and there was only 2 of them. They had 4 drinks, and they must have had like 4 bags of food. And I said, bloody hell, I thought you were in your big like corporate box. She was like, yeah, she said, but you know, we fancy the Mackies. She said, oh, and this isn't ours. I said, whose is it? She was like, oh, well, we were waiting for our food, and then, you know, we got into a bit of an argument with the manager because, like, we were waiting for so long. So we ended up just picking up whatever food they put out. They were obviously, you know, shouting numbers out. So they basically came out with food for, like, 3 or 4 different customers. Collabing the back. So she's opening all these bags saying, oh, Paul, would you like a wrap? Would you like some chips? Got drinks here. We've got 4 drinks. What do you want? So sitting there having drinks and all sorts, and the 3 of us are just trying to work our way through all this food. So yeah, it's quite funny, and it's now the 2nd time since I've started doing you know, private hire driving that someone wanted to listen to my classic album, all the classics on there. The last time was the other week, and the guy was about 70 or 80. He enjoyed it, so these 2 must have listened to it. I was going through it because they were trying to guess the song, if they've heard it or not. I think they were around my age, maybe a touch older. But yeah, they do getting quite a few of them. They loved them all. So yeah, they listened to that for all half an hour, and then they moved on. They requested George Michael to go on. So yeah, I had to listen to 2 of them who had more than a skinful, singing George Michael for the last half an hour. So yeah, when we dropped the first one off, her friend, it was all like nice and peaceful and quiet again. Went back to like a normal conversation. But yeah, really nice people, and yeah, it kind of makes you think. I'd rather do that all day long than go out and do Uber, for example. It's so much easier. Even when you're just waiting around, which you didn't have to wait around. Like I said, you could have gone and done other jobs, but even when you're waiting around, it's easier, and you're still getting paid more than if you would have went and done Uber. So yeah, it's just so much easier. So I'm just waiting for her brother-in-law. Apparently he's supposed to be booking in for the exact same job on Saturday, which is a bit of a pain. He hasn't confirmed yet. I'm kind of half hoping that he doesn't, really, because like I said, it's a nightmare getting up there, and then I'm stuck in Manchester. So he'd originally said, because I take them up at about 4, which is a similar time, so I normally come out about midday to do Uber, so I might be able to do a couple of hours, then I'll have to pick him up, and there's 4 of them, take them to the arena, and then I'm not going to work Manchester, so my only option then is to then drive, you know, best part of an hour back to somewhere that I know, like Southport or wherever, to carry on working Uber, because it's Saturday. It's going to be, you know, as busy as it gets on Saturday. But then they've asked to be picked up at midnight. They've got a business, you see, and basically they have their own corporate like box at the arena, so they're able to stay behind, obviously, when it's finished, and have drinks and all the rest of it. So, oh, my light's going off. Yeah, so he's requested to be picked up at midnight, which is a little bit better, because obviously that means I can do a bit more like Uber work and then drive back up there to pick them up, which then means by the time I collect them and drop them back off, it'll probably be about 1 o'clock. So yeah, I might then be able to do maybe like another hour of Uber or something, but yeah, I'll see what happens. But other than that, quite a successful day really. Just look at my calendar. Oh my god. Yeah, so it's just after 1. I'm up and out. Got the school run at about 8 o'clock. So I need to be up and out in 6 hours 45 minutes. And then I need to be in Southport for 10:30. I've got another collection and I'm taking them to Manchester Airport, Terminal 3. And then after that, after that I'll probably just go and jump on Uber straight away, I think, unless anything else comes through in the meantime. So yeah, that's all it is. I'm starting to waffle, I can feel it. So I'll let you go and I'll have a little clean up and get rid of some of these bags of McDonald's full, this contraband that they've left behind. And yeah, I'll catch you on tomorrow's video.